Hey guys, today we're doing a little something different. We'll be diving into this idea that many beginner artists get caught up in.
But it's like something that all artists experience, so it's relevant forever.
Yeah, that's true. So what all artists get hung up on is this idea that every now and then you fall into this slump where you think your art sucks and it's absolute shit. Like, you look back at your art and think, oh my god, I'm actually terrible at art. Why am I doing this?
Oh my god.
So you fall into this misconception that you've somehow forgotten how to draw and you've just lost whatever talent or skill you thought you had before. And this is incredibly discouraging because obviously you expect your art to constantly get better in a very linear fashion, but then it looks like it's not. Sometimes it looks like it's even getting worse.
But this is actually a misconception and an extremely important part of developing your abilities as an artist. I almost said inabilities.
Me too!
So the red line in this visual is your perception of your abilities, and the blue line is the actual representation of your abilities. As you draw over time, you learn things about art and what you want your art to look like faster than your physical ability is able to grow to match that. So there's this disconnect between the knowledge that you've gained and the ability that you have, and it makes you think that your art is just really shit and that you're just getting worse.
But the reality is that you're constantly improving, and this perception of your art getting worse is extremely necessary in order for you to get better. So on this visual, let's say your art is at point A. You want it to be at point B, so you work super hard to master all the things you need to achieve in order to get to point B. But by the time you get there, your personal expectations have changed based on what you've learned in the time it took you to get to point B. So instead of being proud of how far you've come and recognizing your own development, you start to think that you haven't gotten anywhere and that you're not improving at all.
Acknowledging this disconnect between your current skill level and what you aspire to achieve is necessary for you to develop it all. This is why it's good if you think your art is bad. It means that you're looking ahead and seeing the things you need to improve on and want to change about your art, so you've got things to work towards. Imagine if you always thought your art was great. You'd never grow or develop and would be internally stuck at whatever skill level you're at.
Unfortunately, without realizing that you're constantly improving, you're disappointed by your perceived lack of change. This might lead to some younger artists to give up entirely. Newer or less experienced artists often get into the habit of comparing themselves to better-known professional artists, and they think to themselves, oh, once I get to this person's level, I'll finally have made it as an artist. But the reality is all artists are always improving, and a lot of those people you look up to still get into those slumps where they think their art is shit. But that's just because their knowledge is expanding faster than their abilities.
It's not bad to like your art. But it is really important to understand this concept that you will inevitably have times when you feel bad about your art, because there will always be something for you to improve on. If you stagnate and get comfortable in your current talent level and think, alright, I've made it, I don't need to get better from here, then eventually everyone who loves your art will grow in their own perceptions as well, and they'll begin to notice that your art's not improving, because their perceptions of what's good improve as well. What's way more interesting than a well-to-do artist that's always pumping out the same content is an artist that's constantly growing and changing and discovering themselves as time goes on.
So, if we were to give you any lasting advice, no matter where you are on your artistic journey, keep in mind that if you think your art is bad, let it be reassuring to you instead of discouraging, because it means you're changing, and change is the most pivotal aspect of improving an artist. And don't forget to smash